Welcome to the Explainer. So, if you're working with AI, you're probably obsessed with one big question, right? Which model is the absolute best? But what if that's not even the right question to be asking? Today we're going to dig into a real-world test that might just flip your whole perspective on how to pick your AI tools.
You know, it feels like the entire conversation around AI coding assistants, it all just boils down to this one single thing.
And yep, that's the question. Which tool is the best? Which model is the strongest, the fastest, the smartest? It really feels like that's the only thing that matters when you're trying to pick a tool for your team.
But what if that's just a distraction? What if focusing on the model is actually making us miss the bigger picture? We're about to look at a real-world test that pretty much proves the conversation needs a serious shift. Okay, let's dive in.
All right, so picture this, a showdown between two AI heavyweights. That's pretty much what happened here. An internal experiment was set up to pit two really powerful tools against each other on the exact same tasks. The goal was simple: find out who comes out on top. So, in one corner you've got Claude Code. Think of it as the secure insider, living all cozy inside the AWS ecosystem. And in the other corner, we have Cursor. It's the fast, nimble outsider. It's an IDE-based tool, which just means it works right inside a developer's code editor. And yeah, it's ready to shake things up. Now, this test was designed to be super fair. I'm talking two identical Go backend projects, the exact same prompts, the exact same coding tasks, and even the same engineers. It was a totally level playing field.
And the results? Well, they weren't just interesting. They were really revealing. They uncovered this fundamental trade-off that has, honestly, huge implications for how we all choose our AI tools.
Okay, first up, let's talk about the cost. And honestly, these numbers are staggering. Across the board, Cursor was somewhere between 75 and 83% cheaper to run for the exact same tasks. I mean, that is a massive difference.
And then there's speed. From start to finish, Cursor was 2 to 4 times faster. It wasn't even close. A total blowout.
So looking at this chart, it really puts it all into perspective, right? You can just see Cursor's dominance in those raw performance numbers. It's way faster and so much cheaper. You'd think, okay, case closed, Cursor wins. But this is where things get really interesting. Because here's the twist. Even with those huge differences in speed and cost, the quality of the code from both tools was excellent. Like really high-quality, production-ready code. And that tells us something incredibly important about what really matters here.
See, the real bottleneck isn't the AI's output. It's everything else. It's the stuff you don't see in a slick demo. We're talking about hidden latency, how many tokens it's eating up, and tokens are basically how you get billed, so that's a big deal. And all the security hoops you have to jump through that can just grind a real project to a halt.
And all of this leads to this really powerful realization, one that totally reframes the whole debate. If you can get great code from multiple places, then maybe, just maybe, the raw strength of the model barely matters anymore.
So the crucial point is this. The AI tool itself is only one part of a much bigger system.
And this quote just nails it. The workflow matters more than the model. You're not just picking a model, you're picking a whole workflow. The tool you choose literally shapes how your team works, how they collaborate, and at the end of the day, how they deliver.
Okay, let's break this down and see what it looks like in practice. As you can see here, these tools have completely different personalities. Cursor, that's for teams that live and breathe speed and quick iteration. Claude Code, that's for organizations where strict reviews, audits, and security are king. It really just comes down to your team's culture. So how do you actually make the right choice for your team? Well, it starts by forgetting about finding the quote-unquote best model. It's all about understanding what your team and your organization actually need.
Here's a pretty simple framework you can use. Step 1, figure out your main priority. Is it speed and cost? If so, you're probably leaning towards something like Cursor. Step 2, is it security and compliance? Then Claude Code is looking like a better fit. Then, step 3 is to really look at your team's existing habits and workflow. And finally, step 4, choose the tool that fits that workflow. Don't try to force your team to fit the tool.
So yeah, Cursor is pretty much perfect for product teams, for startups, basically anyone who needs to do rapid prototyping and experimentation. It's all about moving fast, keeping developer velocity high, and doing it without breaking the bank. On the flip side, Claude Code is built for a whole different world. We're talking mature enterprises or industries with heavy regulations like banking, healthcare, or government. For them, things like compliance, governance, and having a secure private environment, that stuff is non-negotiable. So the ultimate takeaway here is pretty clear.
The model itself is never the real differentiator. The architecture and the workflow you build around it, that's what makes all the difference.
So I'll leave you with this question to think about. Your AI model, that's just the engine. And yeah, it's easy to get excited about horsepower, but have you actually designed the right car around it? Because at the end of the day, that's what's going to determine whether your AI initiative actually wins the race or just stalls out on the starting line.